Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Live, where we talk about all things dreams. Now, today's subject looks at dreams in terms of quantum physics, and that sounds like a pretty far stretch, but not really. But we'll look at that and see how dreams and quantum physics actually come together. Now, there's nothing new about the fact that people have considered dreams the gateway to alternate realities, to the future, the past, as well as the hereafter, what happens when we leave this earth. And it's the place where the spiritual and physical worlds meet. So this even influenced the way we buried people as far back as 100,000 years ago, where people were buried in a sleeping position. So throughout the centuries and millennia, dreams have been taken seriously, especially when they seem to be predicting the future. So you could think of dreams as being a rehash of events that from the previous day, and may actually concern or may highlight events that will occur in the future. But it's through dreams that the dreamer may gain insight into either one, whether it's a minor irritation of the day before, or what I call a big medicine dream, something that's literally life-changing. So you could consider dreams as being an imaginary means of preparing ourselves for something that's going to come, or other possible realities will occur. And as such, dream time, as they call it, the Aborigine people call it in Australia, and dream consciousness could be considered manifestations of the many worlds theory that looks at the world through the lens of quantum physics. So there are two possible theories in quantum theory or quantum physics that may explain our dreams, at least at the scientific level, not at the subjective feeling level. The first theory is that there are multiple universes, which states that there's just an infinite number of many parallel universes. Think of it as a spindle with messages on it, and messages keep getting the most recent one at the top and the oldest one at the bottom. So they're all existing in the same plane, but they're all different. They're all in their own little space, their own little world, if you will. And that's the closest way and easiest way to explain multiverses. So another example of what that means is if I stand at an intersection and turn left, there is a universe where I would turn right instead. There's another universe says I go straight ahead, and another one says I never arrived at this particular intersection, and so on. So in other words, the possibilities are literally endless. So that's one theory. The second theory is that of what is called quantum entanglement. And this means that irrespective of time or distance, there are two particles, two things that are related to each other. And measurements that are made with regard to one particle will automatically and instantaneously affect the state of the other particle, which is another way of looking at how dreams work. I mean, I've mentioned in other lives about dreams where people are having the same dream or very similar dreams the same night. Or one client who asked a question in a dream, and the next day the husband gave the answer. So we can dream together. Dreaming is non-localized. In other words, it doesn't stay with one person in one place. It can kind of float through the ether. So how does this all relate to dreams? Well, we're going to look briefly into quantum physics. I'm not a physicist and certainly not a scientist. But we'll have a look at how our dream worlds and our everyday worlds can collide. There is a hypothesis that we are just in one particular universe, but that there are other ones where another Sheila is doing something else, maybe to do with dreams, and maybe doing something completely different because of the choices that she made in her parallel universe. So lucid dreaming in particular may be indicative of the hypothesis that there are many worlds and many parallel universes, each with its own set of physical laws and possibilities. And lucid dreaming comes in that it may help us to access those different realities. Certainly, with lucid dreaming, you're able to intervene, and with a dream. You don't like the ending? Change it. And so there seems to be some correlation between being able to intervene in other areas in other ways through dreams. So, but you have to remember here that time is meaningless in dreams. There's no today, tomorrow, yesterday, there's none of that, or the future. It's all the same thing. And even in ancient cultures, and even some modern day cultures, time is not actually linear, like you go start here and you end there, but circular. And that kind of goes back to my analogy of the spindle with things stacked on top of each other. So that's how you could look at entanglements and multiverses. Whatever time the messages are received, they're still all existing in the same plane, just stacked on top of one another. So despite having different time frames in terms of present, a while ago, and longer while, the messages you never got to or even got rid of, they all exist in the same present, and will be read in the future, but they're from the past. So you see, you can have past, present, and future existing all together. So if we take a closer look at lucid dreaming, it may help to increase our understanding of what quantum physics or quantum mechanics has to do with dreams. Now, what is called the hypnagogic or hypnopompic state, where we are being guided in our dreams, or have an actual figure, wise old man or wizard or whomever, that appears in our dreams to kind of guide us on our path, is actually a transitional phase between waking and sleeping. And it can be characterized by things like vivid images, hallucinations, altered perceptions. I mean, you think of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, where, or Through the Looking Glass, actually, where she was drinking different potions and shrinking or growing or what have you. A perception would change, and they think that Lewis Carroll was actually doing something or other when he had these particular visions for the book, but that's another story. So what happens with lucid dreaming, some research is suggesting that this state of lucid dreaming may actually create a deeper connection to our subconscious mind, and therefore able to access different forms of reality. And I've actually talked about altered perceptions of time in previous lives. There is no past, no present, no future in a dream. It's all the same thing. And time may pass more slowly or more quickly in terms of being able to perceive the passage of time. Now, and this time dilation, as it's called, an altered state of consciousness, can be given in an example from history. Now, about 2 weeks before it actually occurred, Abraham Lincoln dreamt of his own assassination. And he told his dream about several friends and his wife who, found it incredulous. They were scared. They were worried, of course. But Abraham Lincoln recounts this dream, and he was an observer. It was a lucid dream. He was aware he was dreaming, and he was an observer. And he asking the soldiers who were standing around this catafalque with a body in the rotunda of the White House, and asked who had died, and they said the president. And he was completely shocked and disturbed, as you can well imagine, to hear all the people sobbing and crying as they walked past the casket. And this was 2 weeks before he was actually killed by John Wilkes Booth. So time is meaningless, in other words, in terms of our perception of time is meaningless when it comes to dreams, and therefore it's falls right in with quantum theory that we have multi-universes and parallel universes, that all these things are happening all at the same time in a different space, but happening simultaneously. So from psychology and neuroscience to spirituality and metaphysics, there is an understanding that there is a real connection between dreams and parallel realities, and which should really get us thinking about the nature of consciousness and reality itself. Are we really, there's that old joke. It's like if a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear it? Does it really happen? Because did anybody hear it? So. One of those philosophical questions that people have been pondering over for time out of mind. But a separation in conscious time, which is an artificial construct, there's a past, there's a present, there's a future. Again, that linear approach towards dreams. But in dream time, past, present, and future have no meaning. They violate the laws of causality and reality and the laws of physics. But then that's the actual nature of quantum physics. The normal rules that we expect to be true don't apply, because time, space, energy, all of those things come together and create a world, literally a universe of possibilities. So while the connection between dreams, lucid dreaming in particular, and accessing other dimensions of reality continue to be a subject of ongoing investigation, the evidence, particularly anecdotal evidence and theories presented by researchers, highlight the possibilities, which are intriguing, that lie within our domain of human consciousness. We can literally travel the universe without ever leaving our armchairs. So whether our dreams are figments of our imagination, or as some people think, the result of cheap wine and too much cheese or late nights, the imagination that is brought to bear in our dreams are a gateway, literally a gateway to other realities. And the study of dreams in and of themselves and not as simply as an adjunct or byproduct of sleep will continue to grow as we find new ways of understanding dreams and how they can be applied to our lives. So I sincerely hope that you enjoyed that brief dive, that brief little dip into quantum physics and dreams. And it's really quite a fascinating subject, and there's more information coming out about it all the time. So you might want to just Google that, which, by the way, Google is the result of a dream. So, and a lot of other inventions were the results of dreams. Besides Google, you have the double helix of DNA, so the connection to science again. The rings that were for benzene, the chemical symbol for the construction of benzene. The hit songs by the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, Frankenstein, the novel, all kinds of things have been the result of dreams. So my question to you is, what are you missing by not listening to your dreams, whether in your personal life or professional life. You may be sitting on a great idea and ignoring it because it came to you in a dream. Don't do that. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'm going to enjoy this long weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.